Hello humans, Master Dinner Flags here, bringing you the low quality content you deserve, and today I wanted to demonstrate some things with agents, and I'm gonna give a deck profile, etc, all the cool stuff. So, basically, I wasn't confident in this deck for a little bit. I didn't really want to test it or show it off. I know a lot of people were really excited about the Ringo Worm. But truthfully, I thought it was genuine YouTuber video bait. Like, hard bait. So the problem was, you needed to basically establish Venus before this card did anything. Like, not even joking, this card did nothing unless you already had the ability to play, and then it only extended past a certain point. But then I remembered sprite exists, so then I started rethinking, well, what if I just don't account for this being in my opening hand like an adult, and then try to combo around that? And that's why I established this idea to begin with. So really quickly, we're going to do a very basic combo you've probably seen hundreds of times, and we can get into the profile. So we're just going to allow this random hand to play out. Summon Yugioh, activate Sacred Waters, get Earth, summon Earth, search Neptune. We're going to link these two away into Moon, which will dump Majesty. And then we're going to toss the Neptune to get back the Earth, and we're going to banish the Neptune to summon out Majesty, and that will give us Sanctuary in the Sky access. So we're already in a good spot right now. And now we will go into the Master Flare. I'm actually just going to skip because you guys have seen this 100 times. We're going to dump Venus, summon the 3 balls. The Parshath is going to discard a card and search Venus when we link it away with one of the balls and Earth. And then we'll link these two off into something I can link away. So we'll say Azalea. Banish a Shine Ball for Parshath's effect to summon the Venus, and link these two into Apollosa. And then now we can start thinking. Because like I said in the last agent video, this is the same setup every single time. Every time you're like, oh, but they banned this card, how do you do it? It's literally the same. So for this setup, however, we are going to rethink it. We're going to summon back the 3 balls. And with the first batch, we are going to synchro these away into Moon. So we have our Book of Moon, which is ultimately a way to prevent your smaller negations from being ran over. Then we are going to link these away into Sprint, and Sprint on summon will dump the Ringo Worm. And this is what I wanted to show off. Because of Sprint existing and Ringo Worm existing, there's a new way to access tuners through your extra deck in this deck. And because we've already synchro summoned, we can just go ahead and summon that token, and then we have 2 more uses of the Flare Hyperion. So we'll summon 1, synchro these 2 away into Cupid Pitch, and we can either make Arclight or Savage Dragon, up to you. I will increase its level, so we'll summon another Shine Ball, synchro these away into Savage, which will get us a Neptune search, and then we will summon that Savage and go ahead and equip it with the Parshath. You can go into Arclight here because you have the way to protect it from battle with Pluto. And finally, the last Shine Ball will go ahead and be summoned out, and we'll overlay the Link 2 and the Level 2 for Gigantic Sprite. We'll attach the Shine Ball to summon out a Sprite Carrot in this instance. So, this is kind of what I wanted to show off. Sprite Sprint is a big deal for how I wanted this deck to work, because ultimately, without it, the Ringo Worm just didn't matter. And prior to the Ringo Worm Sprint interaction, you had to use Jet Synchron to get more access to tuners, and I just didn't like that. It was a lot of... It wasn't just that it was some extra main deck space, it was actually the extra deck space I didn't like it taking up. So that's why I wanted to try out this package instead, and I'm a bigger fan, because this is much less of a Garnet than Jet Synchron. because like it can actually be done in like regular boards. You can draw it and it just doesn't matter. Not to mention the sprite cards are really good to establish like when you're getting hand trapped a lot, because it's like interactions even when you're getting interacted with on your turn, like with hand traps like Droll and whatnot. They're just really good into that, so they're like fine to draw like that. So that's it for the demonstration. Now let's get into the deck profile. Now, obviously, one of my favorite decks at this point of all time. Very interesting combo deck, a lot of moving pieces, but unlike a lot of other really high power, high roll combo decks, this one's a lot more interactive with how it chooses to play with the opponent. You can make these super pseudo-solitaire boards, but what's actually interesting about this deck, unlike many others, is that when that doesn't happen, there's a lot of really interactive pieces with this deck. Like Master Hyperion, Majesty Hyperion. A lot of the agents are actually just really good at making interactive, like, board states. Same with, like, Moon and whatnot. So, like, unlike a lot of other combo decks, it actually gets really interactive when things go wrong or you need to play an interactive game. And a lot of combo decks are just not really that either good or interesting about it, whereas this one really is, and that's why I like it a lot. But let's get into this deck list. Probably going to show a replay and maybe a combo, but I'll keep the combo a little simple because I don't want to show that same combo yet again. So we got 3 Venus, 1 Dark Venus, pretty standard. Yeah, not much to say here. These ones summon the balls out of the deck. This one summons them out of Grave and Banished. You don't need multiple Dark Venus. I've already shown so many times. You literally search this from your deck in the combo and summon it off Parshath. Like, it's very easy. You will get to use this, and you will use Venus 3 times in this, 6 times in this once. It's very good. Triple Neptune, really, really good extender. Just a fantastic card. And finally, 3 Earth, very good. Better starter than Diviner. Unless it's your only card, then it doesn't do anything. But I actually have Diviner in this deck list without the stupid, I'm gonna attempt to make a level 10 Synchro package. Because it's just so bad. I'll explain how I use this later. And then we got the balls, and then 1 of each Hyperion. I would actually recommend bumping up Majesty Hyperion to 2. Because under extreme suspicion, I believe we're going to revert back into a Bestial format. With, like, really high chances of it being the case, because Konami forgot those cards existed, and it's exactly what I was concerned about. We'll get a format where they're not actively relevant, and Konami will just forget they exist, and we'll come up into a format where we just have to deal with them. And I am not a fan of that. The only reason you haven't been too concerned with them is because when they were good, it was a tier 0 format. And then the next format after that, they were literally unfunctional because the best deck in the room did not allow those cards to be played. So, like, neither of those things are the case now. Triple Yatos. I actually think this is the best fairy body. Going back to it. You need to make a level 10 synchro if you cannot get to Earth plus fairy body. And Yatos is a fairy for that. So you can go into Master Flare Hyperion. And because we don't have to deal with Poopy Pantis Diablosis, we can actually just play 1 of this, which is nice. So, very good. 3 of this. And because only the fairy needs to be a non-tuner, you can actually just use it with other tuners. Now, Diviner of the Herald. I'm not playing the package, but I'm playing this anyways. And why is that? Well, for one, because of its level modulation, it can turn like a fairy body into something to make Flare Hyperion. So if you like summon a Corbane, you can normal this, stump Venus, and then like that's like your Flare Hyperion. So it doesn't need that much interaction to get into Flare Hyperion. It just needs a fairy body, and I'm willing to do that if I don't have to play the 2 bricks associated with it. Because the 2 bricks are terrible. They're actually just more than terrible. They are genuinely abysmal. Booten or D, whatever. The Triads, they're just not good. And this deck already has a lot of dead ends you want to keep at a minimum. Because, like, you have 3 Shine Balls, you have Sanctuary in the Sky, all dead ends. And you don't want to put even more on there. Even bumping it up to 60 is not great, because the whole point of this being a one-card starter is to have more starters, but when you're increasing your deck size, it defeats the point of doing that. So I'm definitely fine with just doing this. I think it's better, not to mention, like, you have a lot of really neat combos when you actually use it as Foolish Burial. Like, you can dump Majesty, you can dump Venus, and then, like, revive it with a Neptune, and then, like, you get to make some Link plays and then go into Savage Dragon with it and Venus. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do. You actually just use it as a Foolish Burial, whereas otherwise it would only ever be a one-card starter that's really bad. So, yeah, that's it for that. And then Corbane and Lilybell. I actually think this should be to Corbane. Lilybell is a level 2 Trickstar Extender, but it specifically needs Light Stage to be so, and so it probably should be Corbane. But the only reason I'm trying it is because I'm also trying one of each of these, but I'll get into that in a moment. Then Logaeth. So another fairy body, just a fairy that can summon itself, which is important. But more importantly, why I'm even playing this at all when it could just be any other, like, Cyber Dragon-ish fairy monster, is this one's actually good with interacting with boards. Not only is it good at doing that, it's actually good to search off Parshath when you have Sanctuary in the Sky, because you go ahead and search this, and in a new chain it activates, summons itself, and then you can, like, turn Parshath into a Banish, which is really nice. Level 7, really good level for this. It's just an all-around really solid card. And the reason it's even at 1 is because of its searchability. Otherwise, it'd probably be at multiples rather than 0. Then finally, we got one card back, Herald of the Orange Light. Like, it's cool. Like, it's a cool hand trap and whatnot. But the thing that was most valuable about this card in this deck was actually that it was a tuner. If it wasn't a tuner, it'd be actually really hard to justify playing this in the deck, despite it being a fairy deck. But, like, let's say you just have Yatos and this. Like, that's just a full combo, as ridiculous as that sounds. So it's actually very important that it is a tuner. And now one of each sprite negation card. I didn't want to play any more sprites. I was trying more sprites earlier, and man, it was a lot of dead ends. Like I said, I want to cut down on the dead ends. Starter, I never want to activate. Even when it was my last card, I refused to activate it, so that wasn't good. Blue was just like, whatever. A lot of the times, you're trying to build around the idea of Droll, and blue doesn't support that. So I just, like, play one of each of these. You can put it on top of your inboard, but more importantly, this package is for when you're getting hand-trapped, sometimes multiple times. It's really good to just have something to do, and these cards allow you to have something to do when you're, like, getting interrupted a lot. And even if that's not the case, they're just good to tack on to an already good inboard. Then finally, the last two monsters are Ringo Worm. Now, I don't know who thought that, oh, it'd be really good to make a deck where you're trying to draw exactly Venus and then exactly Ringo Worm. That's not a real scenario. Like, it's cool to draw because sometimes it lets your inboard be much better, but you have to get to point A before you consider point B, which is why I was so iffy on this card. This card only works when you already have the ability to play. So I was, like, really thinking, why am I even playing this at all? But then I remember Sprint is still in the game, and this card is just a Foolish Burial for this. So if you Synchro Summon once that turn and then dump it, it makes, like, random pieces into a level 2 tuner, which is really, really nice. That's what's really good, and that's why I'm even playing it at all, is because you have extra deck access to it. If that was not the case, I would probably not play this rather than play 3, because that's kind of ridiculous, the deck build like that. But that being said, it's, like, still good to draw when you can play. I can't deny that, because it's just a double tuner. And also, you don't just need Shine Balls, but you can actually play my Ready Fusion target and still summon it, because it's a non-effect monster, and this needs non-effects, not just normal monsters. For the spells, 3 Sacred Waters, 3 Ready Fusion. You could also throw in Instant Fusion if you want to, but it's like the same card. It doesn't make any difference for how I'm using it. 3 light stage. Probably bump this down to 2 and replace this for Corbane would probably be better, truthfully. So this would be Corbane, and you have an extra slot for whatever, Called by the Grave, Feather Duster, who cares, just an extra slot. I would probably recommend doing that, but I wanted to try this package, just try it out, and haven't really got to see it that much. So then we got Sanctuary in the Sky, needed for the combo, and then Fallen Sanctuary. Just fantastic trap all around. Not only is it like a constant interaction with your opponent, but on activation it gets you follow up. That's really strong. So that's it for the main deck. Side deck, up to you, but there's like quite a few cards I would actually recommend, and it would be the 7. Jadal package is really good in here. The level 8 fairy, so you can make Master Flare Hyperion with it. Then you can up Ariel and Shadal Dragon, or I should say. So I would even recommend Shadal Dragon in here, which I will do that right now. And basically, you get to summon a fairy while heavily interacting with your opponent's board, because you'll dump one of them, Construct will dump another, and you get to like manipulate a lot of cards from your opponent without really doing that much, which is really strong. So that's pretty good. Then Divine Punishment, it's for post-siding going first. You know they're gonna have like some Dark Ruler droplet nonsense, and to have a counter chat that just says no, your board breaker's invalid is strong, because you don't need to control any monsters. You just need to control Sanctuary in the Sky, and like there's no lava golems or whatever that interact with that, so that's like really cool. And Psychic End Punisher for going second card. Especially like if you were to play this IRL and time is a factor, you just summon a big Bingus when you're like low on life, and then you just summon this and the game is over. So that's it for the side deck recommendations. And then for the extra deck, 2 Moon. Alright, I need to like explain this right now. This card is insane. It is actually my favorite Link monster. Not because it's like insanely powerful, but more the fact that it's like it's really good at going first, it's really good at going second, it's really good at creating follow-up, and like it is like having multiples means you're playing a real game of Yugioh, and that's why I'm have it in here, is for the real games of Yugioh you will be playing. Yeah, there's a really big combo deck, but like you're going to have to see a turn 3, and your opponent has board breakers a lot of the time. But since you're playing Sanctuary in the Sky, the second one is going to search Earth, which is big. And then afterwards, you just get so many resources. I think this card is truly underappreciated in this deck, and I think the reason people don't appreciate it is because they do everything in their power to not play Sanctuary in the Sky, when the truth is that's a mistake. And even then, you have Fallen Sanctuary, which is Sanctuary in the Sky for this. Play multiple of this. It is so fantastic. It is good going first, good going second, just all around exceptional card. Arshath, really good. Apollosa, it's a fairy, which actually means after you're done with it, you can like use it to make moon and whatnot, which is wild. Sprint, I already explained. IP Masquerena, it's for more of those like what I was saying, when you're getting interacted with a lot, but you still need to make an inboard, this is the kind of card for that. And also, Azalea, this card is absolutely bonkers. I can't wait till we get this. This card is so good. We're gonna get this, and people are just gonna love this card. It's wild. Avalon, I already explained. It's a ready fusion target that's also a non-effect for your Ringo Worm. And then we got Pluto, Cupid Pitch, Herald of the Arclight, Warlord Savage, Baron de Fleur, and Master Flare Hyperion. I don't think there's any more synchros you actually need outside of another odd level like Dawn's Dragster or Psychic End Punisher, but this extra deck is so insanely tight. It could be 20 and you'd be limited on space. And then finally, Gigantic Sprite, like I said, to have that hand trap interaction. So like, that's it for the deck, and like I was saying, it's built around the idea that you'll like get hand trapped with a couple of times. Like, Droll being especially a big one. And if I'm gonna get trolled, I'd rather, like, have cards that, like, put them in the grave, put them on field. And there's like, a package that allows you to do that. And, like, it's kind of built for that. It's kind of built that your opponent's gonna activate some stupid nonsense. So, yeah, that's it for the deck profile. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Combo might be in front or back, I don't care. But the reason I actually delayed this till Monday is because I felt like I needed to test this more. I didn't think this deck was very complete. And now I feel like it's a lot more complete. There's definitely things I think you could change around like this and that, and like a few other tests. But I'm a lot more confident in this. I'm a lot more confident showing it off, which is why I held it back for a few days. But yep, that's about it. Thank you all for watching. And remember, Master Dinner Flex will take your soul.